He's the man, the myth, the six-string legend who earned the title God on the streets of swinging London in the 1960s. Eric Clapton, or Slowhand, has spent a lifetime making his guitar weep, roar and sing. But what solos truly define the man? We're going to do the almost impossible and select his 10 best solos from an extraordinary career, the ones that earned him that highest of praise. Cast your mind back to the year 1966. A young guitarist, barely out of his teens, was turning heads with his ferocious blues-soaked playing.
I was imitating. To be honest with you, I was copying what I heard on record.
This was Eric Clapton with John Mayall and the Blues Breakers, and their album was a certified classic even before it hit the shelves. The Beano album, as it was affectionately known, was a showcase for a talent that simply couldn't be contained. It was here that Clapton laid down the gauntlet for every guitarist who followed. On tracks like Have You Heard, he didn't just play a solo, he told a story. It's a slow-burning masterpiece with a solo that builds and builds, full of frenetic energy and scorching licks. It was the sound of a musician who had absorbed the entire history of the blues and was ready to unleash it on an unsuspecting world. That era was all about pure blues, Clapton is quoted as saying in an old interview. There was no other direction. It was just an absolute commitment to that sound. It was raw, it was honest, and it felt like the only thing that mattered.
Did you like the sound of it, your own sound?
Yeah, because it's one instrument where you can hit one string with a plectrum. Just hit one string and it sounds good, or maybe hit two strings. And you start to invent it, yourself, and you think you're writing and you're learning, and it is enjoyable as you're doing it.
His Gibson Les Paul, famously lost after this period, became a key part of this sound. It was here that the seeds were sown for what would become a revolution in rock music. He was a man obsessed with tone, with squeezing every last drop of feeling from his instrument. This was more than just playing notes. It was an expression of something primal. Then came Cream, the supergroup that changed everything. With Ginger Baker on drums and Jack Bruce on bass, Clapton found two musicians who could match his intensity. This wasn't just a band, it was a musical explosion, and Clapton's solos were the dynamite. On Sunshine of Your Love, he delivered one of his most iconic and recognizable solos. It's an absolute masterclass in creating a sound that's both distorted and precise, a tone that has driven countless guitarists to distraction trying to replicate it. He achieved it with a wah-wah pedal and his legendary The Fool SG guitar, crafting a sound so unique it became a trademark. He even began the solo with the opening notes of Blue Moon, a clever nod that many fans might have missed. Another classic from this era is his live solo on Crossroads. A reinterpretation of blues god Robert Johnson's song, it became one of those moments in music history where the live version simply eclipsed the studio recording. Clapton took the blues and turned it into an adrenaline-fueled rock spectacle. The solo is a frantic, dizzying display of speed and skill, proving that he could improvise on the spot and still deliver something truly unforgettable. And who could forget White Room? This track is a showcase for his incredible wah pedal artistry. He used the device to create fluttery, aquatic magic in the choruses, answering the verses with a guitar that sounded like it was singing back. It's a solo that's as much about texture and feeling as it is about notes. The story of Derek and the Dominos is one of rock's most heartbreaking tales, a story of unrequited love and searing musical passion. Clapton, in a state of emotional turmoil, poured his heart and soul into the album, and nowhere is this more evident than on the title track, Layla. While it's often said that this solo is a collaboration with the brilliant Duane Allman, Clapton's contribution is full of that signature emotional weight. It's an ode to Pattie Boyd, the wife of his friend George Harrison, and you can feel the pain, the desperation, and the longing in every single note. It's a true musical conversation, a dialogue between two of the world's finest guitarists. "I tried to write a song that was so full of passion and fire that she would just have to listen," Clapton said of the song. And the solo, it had to be a part of that. It had to be a song within a song, something that expressed everything that words couldn't. The live version of Why Does Love Got to Be So Sad? From the album Live at the Fillmore offers perhaps the best glimpse into Clapton's playing during this time. For a full 15 minutes, he and the band just let loose, and more than half of that is a brilliant, nimble-fingered Clapton solo that could be a track all on its own. It's a journey from shimmering high notes to chunky chords, a piece that captures the essence of his late 60s sound and the stinging tone that would define his 70s work. As he moved into his solo career, Clapton's sound evolved. He was still the bluesman at heart, but his playing became more relaxed, more melodic, and filled with a gentle grace that earned him the nickname Slowhand. This is perfectly demonstrated on Let It Rain, from his debut solo album. The final minute of the track is all Clapton. With his cherished Fender Stratocaster Brownie in hand, he spins his strings into gold, picking notes that arc like shooting stars and slowly fade into silence. It's a beautiful, glistening solo that showcases his incredible ability to create a sound that is both heavenly and completely grounded in the blues. His solo on Wonderful Tonight is another prime example of this relaxed, tasteful playing. It's understated, subtle, and serves the song perfectly. It's not about flash or speed, it's about conveying emotion through a few perfectly placed notes. This is a solo that speaks volumes by not saying too much. Clapton's talent was so in demand that he was called upon to guest on some of the biggest records of the day. The most famous of these is undoubtedly his solo on the Beatles' While My Guitar Gently Weeps. It's a magnificent, weeping solo that perfectly captures the song's melancholic mood. Harrison had written the song but wasn't happy with his own recording, so he called in his old friend. Clapton's guitar truly does sound like it's crying, full of a deep sadness and emotion. It's a masterful display of his ability to serve a song, to become a part of its fabric, and elevate it to something truly special. "George asked me to do it, and I was nervous," Clapton has said. "But he insisted, and once I was in the studio, it just felt right. I just tried to play the song, not to show off, but to make the guitar feel like it was a voice." In the early 90s, Clapton stripped everything back for his MTV Unplugged performance, and the results were stunning. This was an opportunity for his more nuanced, acoustic playing to shine, and it produced some of his most memorable solos. The acoustic version of Layla from this album is a masterclass in how to completely reinvent a classic. Got me on my knees, Layla, begging, darling, please, Layla. It takes the raw electric emotion of the original and transforms it into a solo that's full of gentle sorrow and incredible technical skill. This version proved that Clapton didn't need a wall of amplifiers to create a powerful and moving solo. He could do it with nothing but a 6-string and his incredible feel. Despite all the rock and pop fame, Eric Clapton's heart has always been in the blues. This was never more apparent than on his 1994 album, From the Cradle. This was a back-to-basics collection of blues covers, a pure and unadulterated tribute to the genre that started it all for him. His fiery solo on 5 Long Years is Clapton at his most passionate and raw. It's a reminder that beneath all the fame and the polished sound, there is still the same young bluesman who played with John Mayall all those decades ago. His playing on this album is a celebration of the music that inspired him, a full-circle journey from a young apprentice to a living legend. "The blues is the start and end of it all for me," he's stated. "It's where all the passion comes from. You can dress it up, you can take it into different directions, but at its heart, it's always the blues." If you want to know Eric Clapton's 7 favourite guitar players, click the thumbnail on screen now.